Welcome back into the Fantasy Football Funhouse. You can find us on Twitter at FF Funhouse. You can find me at SalitoFF. My co-hosts, Kevin Gattillo and at Sid Skeet, are not with me today. So they recommended to me that I get someone to do the show with me, jump on, and keep doing the Thursday night fantasy football preview show. So I thought long and hard about this. I thought, who have I been wanting to do a show with for a long time? And then it hit me. It's me. I've been wanting to do a podcast all by myself without those other guys. No one to tell me I'm talking too much. No one to tell me my opinions stink. I know. It's Solo Sal, Joe. That's right. FF Trader Joe is in the chat. So, guys, it's not going to be a long show because we have an absolutely miserable Thursday night matchup between the Jets and the Broncos. But let's talk a little bit about news. It took us into week 4 for the threat of games to be canceled due to positive COVID tests. And as both the Titans and Vikings facilities were shut down and evacuated after news of 8 positive tests surfaced in the Titans organizations. We've since learned who the players are. There was a fourth player, Titans linebacker Kamale Correa, added to the list today. We saw panic spread throughout the fantasy football community the past couple of days when it put at risk the players from these two teams, as well as the Steelers and the Texans, the respective opponents of both the Titans and the Vikings this upcoming week. Now, first and foremost, guys, the health and safety of the players and their families is what's most important. I've seen a lot of people in my leagues, they need to make a decision. I need to make IR spots. I get it. Guys, we're playing fantasy football. Those guys are living in reality. So be nice. It'll get sorted out. Listen, the good news was this. The players, and now even the fourth player, were all from different player groups. None of them were of the same player group. There was no 2 tight ends, no 2 defensive tackles, no 2 linebackers, et cetera. There was a long snapper thrown in there. So as Dr. Chow, who put out a good video yesterday, pointed out, it's better if it's spread out amongst groups, because if it's one position group getting completely wiped out, that's how we're going to lose games. The NFL appears to want to move this game to Monday night. There's been some talk about it possibly being Tuesday night. We all remember there was one Tuesday night game a few years ago when the Metrodome collapsed in Minnesota, and they had to move the Minnesota Vikings and the Eagles game to a Tuesday night. That goes down as the Joe Webb game. But I tweeted this out earlier today. In reality, it doesn't help us for fantasy football, but in reality, I think the NFL has a window as far as Wednesday to play this game. Okay, if you play a Sunday night game, then you play a Thursday game that week, you have the same amount of days off as if you were to play a Wednesday game and then have a game the following Sunday. So the NFL has that time, and they're going to have to probably do something like this throughout the season. This is not going to be the first time we're going to see something like this happen, and it's not going to be the last time. Rather, we're going to see something like this happen, and we might even see it where we get to a point where the NFL has to put a bye week in between the end of the season and the playoffs if these things start to mount up. But listen, they acted quickly. They're acting intelligently, and let's hope that we get it off. Guys, Tomlin said it's a disadvantage. Well, it's a disadvantage in what way? They get an extra day to practice. They get an extra day for bodies to rest. I don't know that it's a complete disadvantage. If it goes all the way to Wednesday, I can start to understand the mindset that it becomes a disadvantage. But we've watched the MLB cancel weekends, have to make up games with 7-inning doubleheaders. If the NFL wants to get these games in, if the players want to get these games in, if they want to play a full season, they're going to need to make adjustments and accept certain things that come along with making those adjustments. And that's playing a game that was maybe scheduled for a Sunday on a Monday or Tuesday and possibly even a Wednesday. So, guys, getting back to the Thursday night matchup, listen, the news around the NFL is that if Adam Gase loses on Thursday night, that he'll be fired. This should come of no surprise to any Jet fans that they'll find a way to win that game. They will absolutely find a way to win that game on Thursday night, because that's what the Jets do. They cost themselves, beneficial things all the time. And Adam Gase needs to go. Adam Gase is an atrocious head coach. We've seen this now. There are guys that are just not fit to be head coaches. And I'm not sure what Adam Gase is fit to be, but it's not as a head coach. It's not with the Jets, and he needs to move out. But, they welcome in the Broncos. The Jets started the week out as a +3 underdog at home. And as the week has gone on, it's now at a pick 'em, which is sad because the Denver Broncos are starting Brett Rippon, and the Jets are at home, and they're at pick 'em with a Denver team that's depleted. Guys, the point total in this game is a pathetic 40 points. I don't think we get near 40 points in this game. We have two of the three lowest scoring offenses in the league. The Jets come into this game scoring 37 total points on the season, and the Broncos are third lowest at 45. The second worst scoring team in the NFL is the New York Jets. I mean, the New York Giants, rather. The New York Jets and New York Giants have 37 and 38 total points, respectively, on the season. NFL football in New York is atrocious. I have a question. Will Lindsey be a factor? I don't think Lindsey will be a factor in this game. All right, he's starting to practice again. He's still suffering from the toe. As a person who has a turf toe injury, it's something I'm a soccer player. I played in college. I played soccer my whole life. I have a turf toe injury to my right big toe. It doesn't take much to set that injury off. It doesn't take much to set you back for an entire day with that injury. So I would imagine they're going to go slow, especially since they are playing the Jets, and they probably don't have too much to worry about. There's literally two fantasy-worthy players in this game, and I'll get to them right now. One of them is Melvin Gordon, and Gordon comes in as RB19. He's got a touchdown both rushing and receiving on the season, and he faces the Jets' bottom 5 fantasy run defense that's likely going to stack the box due to that Rippon is quarterbacking, but I don't think that makes much of a difference in this game. I would definitely be rolling out Melvin Gordon without much hesitation this week. They've given up an average of 100 rushing yards a game. They've given up 20 receptions total and 4 total touchdowns in 3 weeks to running backs. Melvin Gordon is a start for me easily. The other guy is a guy that if you have him on your roster, should be playing for you every week, and it's without a doubt, and that's Noah Fant. He is tight end number 3 after 3 weeks. He had a touchdown in both weeks 1 and 2, and then last week he saw his highest target total of 10. We know about all the injuries to the wide receiver core in Denver, so this is a guy you're rolling out there every week. The Jets have been beat up by tight ends. 3 tight end touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, 2 to Jordan Reed and then 1 to Mo Alley Cox last week. Fant should easily be locked into weekly lineups regardless of matchups. With the injuries at wide receiver and Rippon at quarterback, it's hard to get excited about any of these young wide receivers in the Denver Broncos offense. You might, if you're desperate or in your deep league, want to roll KJ Hamler out there, but we didn't get the week out of him we were expecting last week. So what's up, Kareem? I see my good man Kareem has rolled in. He's sent me hearts. It's just me this week, buddy. Kevin and Steve could not hang, so it's just me. So, yeah, I can't imagine I want to get any wide receivers from either team in. With that said, I want to get both defenses in this week. If I'm streaming defenses, this is the game I'm going to stream my defense this week. My priority, first and foremost, would be to pick up Denver's defense if they're out there. We saw the Colts score 27 defensive points a week ago against this Jets team. We can't expect that there'll be 2 pick sixes again, but there might be one. There might be some safeties. There's going to be turnovers. It's going to be a really, really ugly game, a low-scoring game. I'm going to go under 40. The over-under is 40, and I'm going to go under that. So I highly recommend getting one of these 2 defenses on your team. I'm at a loss with the Jets. The Broncos have given up 7 passing touchdowns. They are bottom 5 against wide receivers, but are you desperate enough to play anybody in the Jets' passing offense? Herndon, I believe, got banged up last week. I wouldn't be on anybody from that end. So Seth, my friend Seth Gordon is checking in. He says Mark Schofield is a big believer in Brett Rippon. We know Mark is a quarterback guru. If there's anybody who knows the ins and outs of quarterbacks, it would be Mark Schofield. I don't know I'm desperate enough to roll that kid out in his first start on a Thursday. Listen, if you're going to play some showdown lineups this week, there's going to be a ton of dart throws. I mean, if you play showdown, you know what showdown's all about. You want to find those dart throw players every week that separate you. So, hey, do a couple of rosters, throw Brett Rippon in as a captain on one of them, might win you a few bucks. I'll be doing cash lineups only this week on Showdown. I'll tell you what I'll definitely be doing. in Showdown if I'm doing cash. I'm going to have both kickers. I'm going to have at least one defense, most likely the Denver defense, and I'll have Gordon and I'll have Fant in those lineups, and we'll see where we go from there. I'll probably have Fant in as my captain, or maybe even the Denver defense in as my captain. Guys, listen, quick 10-minute show. I want to show face this week. Steve and Kevin couldn't make it. We'll be back next week with the full crew and a much better matchup with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Chicago Bears. A lot more fantasy relevance in that game, a lot more to talk about. So for the people that did join me tonight, for the people that have downloaded and listened to this, I appreciate you taking the time. I want to be short and I want it to be sweet. Look at his face. This is sweet. So thank you all for coming out, and we'll see you in a week.